Hey, this is Hutch, and you're listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast.
Got to clear my pipes and be all theatrical at this point, you see. But I was in the Royal Shakespeare Company. I used to go out on stage every day and say, "Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Taylor, and you're listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast, your weekly digest of hobby goodness." Another Florida native joins me this week. I've no idea why I'm doing this voice, but I'm enjoying it, so I'm going to carry on.
I like it. I like it.
Probably the man with the most names in the hobby. A warm welcome to Josh James Kennedy Smith.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Short and sweet.
Appreciate that.
It's one of those things. It's like, do you actually go by all those names at about? Because I notice your screen just says Josh Kennedy on it, or is that
Right.
just a Facebook thing?
So I just go to Josh Kennedy for Facebook, social media,
Right.
stuff like that to try to because I do have 18 names. And so it was helpful
Hang
when I
on a
was
minute. Hang on. Back up a minute. You taking the piss and pulling my leg, or do you actually have 18 names?
no. Don't
Okay.
have 18, but
Okay.
Joshua James Kennedy hyphen Smith. It was, parents, they put together this big thing, two families in Boston. That around that time, being a Kennedy coming from Boston, there was no way you can't have that being your last name.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the Smiths were like, well, that's all good and fine, but what about us? And
Hmm.
next thing you know, boom, 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 boom. But yeah, so later on in life, I kind of condensed it down to what I thought was I had my pick. So I was actually Josh James or Josh Smith. I messed around with some stuff, and that's what I wound up with.
Yeah.
But
So what you're telling me is that somewhere in your house there's a drawer with about six different driving licenses in different
oh
photos
yeah,
and
oh
different
yeah,
like
yeah.
facial
There's
hairs,
billfold,
beards,
my
hair.
billfold got
Yep. Okay.
different, different all over the place,
So did
all over the
you
place.
mention so you're a Boston lad. Is that where you're
Sure.
from originally? Yeah.
Yeah, so the suburbs of Boston, like Randolph, Massachusetts, um, it was good. In the 80s, there were a lot of excitement. I was pretty young, but as I was growing up, my father was a good friend of a guy who owned a shop on North Main Street in Randolph.
Mm.
Randolph is small. There's suburbs of Boston. You
Yeah.
could ride your bike through Avon in 5 minutes. Um, so this shop was awesome to even have a comic shop, and it was
Mm.
right down the middle. It was 50% comic books, and it had half sports cards and all this stuff. And so it was great. Go in there with my father, and he got me into collecting. He's the one who got me started, and he would work me over. We go over, and we'd each have like $20 or something. We both had to have the same amount of money, and the challenge was who comes out with the better stuff. And
Oh.
I walk in there, and this was in the very beginning of parallels and variants, holographic covers and stuff. So I walk out with one or two books or a few cards. Pops walks out carrying a case. I mean,
Mm.
just literally case as much as he can carry. And I kind of learned, like buying sets ahead of time and doing things a little bit differently, collecting in a different way. So I started saving, collecting all this stuff and saving all these comic books, early 80s comic books, and then into the 90s. And
Mm.
so then it was probably right around 91 or 92. I go into the shop, and all of a sudden this area in the back with the glass cases has been changed. There's no sports cards there, and I'm just seeing these colors come off these cards, and I get closer and closer, and I I I I'm trying for the life of me to remember. I want to say it was a Scarlet Spider like blaster, kind of maybe even like a 94 metal.
Yeah.
And so I ask about it, and the guy puts it in my hand, and I flip it over, and I start to read the character bio, clone of Spider-Man, blah, 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 blah,
Mm.
blah. In my mind just explodes. Just
Yeah.
goes,
That's gonna be later. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I just went nuts. And when I saw some of these, the first Marvel Masterpiece sets, some of those, the very first hollows. And as time went by, the comic side of this shop just kind of, got smaller and smaller and smaller. And more of these cards kept showing up, more packs of different stuff. The universe, the early 90 universe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was just, I was hooked. I was hooked. And so I started, saving, collecting all these early 90s sets. And then as time went by, when some of the shops shut down, we moved down to Florida, and I was at one of my places getting ready to move, and I had a box of, you write Marvel on it or whatever
Mm.
comics. And so I had a box I was getting ready to go through, and it had probably been, I'd say, at least 10, 12 years since I was back into Marvel cards or even comics. I was doing hockey and traveling back and forth between Boston and Florida. And so I just got out of, it for a while.
Mm.
And then during this move, I open up this box, and on the back of one of the comics was this glowing case with this little light on the advertisement on the back, and it was showing like the card was awful. In retrospect, it was like a 2007 um, Iron Man or something like that. Good looking card, but the set wasn't. And I'm looking at this thing, and I
I
read it.
know
It
the
says
one. I'm going to put
coming
it up.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wanted to go through
I've
I have
got it
so many.
here. I know the exactly
Yes,
advert. For those
and it's
watching, I've left my chair. For those listening,
oof,
rather, it's one of these, one of these, one of these. Which one is it?
oh
Which
yeah.
one is it? It's Masterpieces '07 or '08. I have a feeling it might be '08.
Yeah, that
It's
oh seven oh
'08.
eight is strange like that because it went what, set one, set two.
Yeah,
I
well,
consider them
they didn't call 2007 set one.
okay.
At least I don't believe they did off the top of my head. I think it's an advert because such is my master. Here it is.
Yes, yes, yes. That's the one.
That's the
That is
one.
the one.
That's
Oh
not a
my
bad
God.
Iron Man. I think that's okay.
Yeah,
The Spidey's all right. The Hulk's a bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
Spidey's
but
been
that
working out a lot. Look at that.
yeah. See, but I love it. I absolutely love it. Just in the display. I mean, you read
Yeah,
the verbiage, and it's just it. Bang! I went right back to Randolph,
I
Mass.
wouldn't mind a case like that, I have to
Exactly.
say.
Ex- I wound up, because of that ad, I wound up modifying several pieces of furniture in my home with having glass cut to shape and having
Oh,
LEDs
wow.
put inside of them and
Oh,
stuff like that, just so I didn't have every wall of my house covered in, Marvel Masterpiece cards. And it's really like that ad right there kind of it it's a little synopsis of what the quality behind the cards from Marvel Masterpiece always has people putting up these displays and making these grandiose,
mm,
well lit, amazing displays.
mm.
And I run into a couple people who were displaying Marvel Masterpieces and in different little cases, glowing and stuff like that. And that's what it is. It's just something about these cards when it comes to Marvel Masterpieces specifically. I have trouble having them sit in the book. I have to have them out so I can see them and look at them
Yeah,
and just appreciate them.
yeah.
That's where it's gotten, and I'm really glad you found that comic. I know mine's sitting in there.
Yeah, no, this is a page. That advert appeared in quite a few places. That's actually a cutout page from Non-Sport Update magazine.
Okay.
So I just kind of cut it out and it perfectly fits into one of the all-page pockets. So it's the completist in me
Yeah.
on that set. But it's interesting with it's why I always enjoyed doing the daily masterpiece posts, which I'm hoping to restart.
Yeah.
Is that I actually it forces me to go out and get a different card out each time. So you're always constantly like looking at them for fresh eyes because you haven't looked at them for a year or two.
Right.
Um, But with 2018, I'm now starting to pick up some graded ones just so that I can have them,
Right.
out and about. I can see them a bit more. What I eventually want to do is get one of those graded card cases, but
Okay.
I want a big ass lamp in the roof of it, like that bit in Pulp Fiction. So when you open the case, it's glowing out at you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Um,
how safe that would be for the cards, but it would make me feel
no,
good.
you'd be good as long as LEDs, low temp, not the high, like they have some high octane LEDs that
Mm,
are for like headlights of cars and stuff, a little too, but low temp, you'll be okay.
yeah,
Because I was worried
I
about
got to
this.
I got to think about the battery as well. I need to be able to
Right.
plug this thing in. It needs to be on a
Battery.
USB.
Right. I use what worked out really good was the Invicta watch cases, the scuba diving watch cases.
Okay.
When you buy one of these watches, and now you can get them anywhere. They make here I'll show you. It's kind of relevant. Like they do like Spider-Man
Oh,
edition.
hello. That's a bit
You know,
tasty.
there's of course they
Yeah,
got
yeah.
cap, they got all the different and stuff like that, and they're inside. It's foam core. Um, it's with different shapes, and they're waterproof. And then they make even big like suitcase style ones.
Oh, goodness.
So yeah, that's what I carry a lot of stuff around in, and it works real well. When it gets to the graded ones, yeah, either that's like the Scuba or the Gearbox company. They make those really good
Mm,
ones that are, I think, 200. Some of them are 200 plus strong. So
yeah.
real good
There's so
stuff.
many. I mean, you look on Google, you can find all sorts of cases for cards, and some of them are like the cheaper end that look like flight cases, like this
Yeah.
sort of thing. And then you get the ones that are distinctly more rugged. BCW have just brought out a graded card case, actually. I saw it on their Instagram feed earlier on,
Yeah.
which I need to
I'm
check
looking
out.
for one that'll hold magnetic one touches.
Right.
I think it's probably only going to be two, two by two on each side, but
Yeah.
for weight and stuff like that, I think it's probably only going to be two by two. But I've seen a few of them out there. They're kind
Mm,
of hard to find, but I do need to snag one of those.
yeah. Yeah. No,
Um,
I just use my drawers for those at the moment. So they do me
so
quite nicely.
around the funny one of the crazy things was is as different things have happened, and I've tried to start businesses. I was in the golf business for a long time. I was a golf caddy.
Okay.
Um, awesome gig. And so, you know, doing a job like that, a lot of opportunity for commissions, and if you're a good caddy, hopefully. And so after doing this for like 7 8 years, I was trying to find something to kind of like invest in or start a business. And when I ran into 2016, really is a big Marvel Masterpieces in 2016 really changed things for me because the limited print run.
Mm,
Um, all of a sudden, I hadn't done anything with buying, selling, just traded stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
And when I saw what happened over the first year of 2016 during the release, it was predictable, safe from an investment standpoint,
Yeah.
from being able to go 1 year from calendar and to see how strong things were, and if you got involved at the beginning. And so my mind, all of a sudden I'm like, well, I'm trying to do these other things, and why not buy up a bunch of stock and try to put something together, or just even see what happens.
Mm,
And so it was nothing but a stroke of luck that, I mean, when things roll over, if they can go 100% in value, you love it. Or even if you can break even, you've learned something as an investor. What happened with 2016 when it exploded, that really changed things. Now all of a sudden, as a whether you were just a collector, um, and you wanted to sell a few pieces and then really expand your collection, there were opportunities there. If you just happen to, grab up a bunch of the, high T4s and a bunch of the parallels and stuff like that in the beginning, SSAs, and then all of a sudden, I mean, a few years went by and it was amazing. And it felt like this gift of Marvel Masterpieces just kind of kept giving and coming back. I
Mm.
tried to do things and it was just, hey, come back. And then, yeah, so 16 changed the gears and changed the mindset as far as maybe having an opportunity to be involved in the hobby, start a business, and, you know, get to kind of, I mean, cliche, but do what you love
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that was really big for me. 2016. I knew about Jusko. I knew about him from the fantasy art, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Stuff with like the Pegasus horses, and
Yeah.
they're being drugged down with vines in the air, and there's demons, and
Yeah.
some of his stuff awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember the original set, and then so in 16, it was just everything was perfect. A perfect culmination of the quality of the cards when it comes to material per unit.
Mm. Mm.
If I'm not mistaken, like I've got just a medallion um, Fleer Ultra here. So I was told that the between the regular sports, what 35 PT, um, compared to these card stocks, it's 17 times the material as
Oh,
far as
interesting.
overall. For yeah, if you comparing cost for what Fleer Upper Deck from a printing perspective and things like that, and so I can understand the increase in cost and then potentially the increase in difficulty behind, beefing up the cardstock, making them durable. The printing process got a lot better. And then when you do all that and you combine it with this print run, that was phenomenal. Everybody loves most of the parallel. I'm not a big old signature guy, but most all these parallels are amazing. They do a great job hunting and chasing down ideas there and being
Mm.
creative. The legendary oranges are beautiful cards. The epic purples are beautiful. Um, and so the limited print runs combined with the increase in the durabilities, but that's my main thing is I make them as because we obviously have seen what's gone on with the cost and things
Yeah.
like that. Make them as durable and as strong as possible. We get it. You can't make a indestructible card. I mean, I can, but you want to try to get closer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To having something that can withstand the test of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So really, 16 just I think it hit on everything. Um, then a little bit of time went by, and of course, I'm at that point. I am on eBay. I'm on, I was exposed to the group by purchasing through eBay when the set came out early. You're trying to build up inventory. It's the only time it's
Mm.
possible. Usually before release, but
Yeah.
with Marvel Masterpieces, how that goes. So I'm buying up 16 everywhere, and people would send me these messages. Hey, have you been on MMC? Have you been on MCCW? No, what do you mean? And so eventually I looked it up, and then boom, the rest was history there. Once I got exposed to the group, and I mean, you meet guys from all different avenues, different
Mm.
backgrounds. Some have been in comic business or in card collecting business for a long time. Some guys are just getting there. And the different stories and all that stuff was great. And everybody, it's such a, I mean, still, but such a welcoming, humbling experience. Riding motorcycles, kind of the same thing. You never pass another bike without somebody waving to you.
Oh,
Um,
interesting. Okay.
it's yeah, on
I've never ridden a
especially
motorbike. So,
okay. So I did it exclusively for 2 years, just primary, just pushing myself to see what I could. And so I rode a super bike, all modified for just 2 years. And anytime you pass somebody, they'll always wave no matter what it is. And if you're broken down, not a single bike will pass you without stopping and seeing what you
Wow.
need or try to help you. So that kind of camaraderie, that kind of way of being is what I found when I got to the group.
Hmm.
All these guys with similar interests, and again, it starts with Marvel Masterpieces pulling me back in, and then MCCW, and then oh boy, here we go. Now you find yourself in, like it wasn't expensive before. Now you're into Allure and Fleer Ultra Avengers and Spider-Man Metal and Spider-Man Metal. Um, you know, they they got me from an
Oh, hang on,
investment
hang on.
standpoint.
Pause. There's a cat on the podcast. She's on
Yes,
the counter.
yeah, yeah. So this is yeah. I figured was going to make an appearance at some point. This is pretty much his castle.
Very much nonchalantly doing cat stuff and just completely ignoring it.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's you know what? He's been the one where like really I'm been a dog guy for a long time, and Yam was Jody's, and he's turned me over. I mean, I'm not turned to leaf, but Yam's awesome. He's awesome. Ton of personality from
Cats are
that guy.
cool. I've never been a dog person
Mm,
myself. Yeah, I've always gravitated to cats for and quite obviously I collect one of them. So um,
yes,
anyway,
yes.
sorry, the cat interrupted you. So
No, you're good.
riding bikes, groups, Spider-Man Metal Universe. You mimed blowing your head off. We'll come back to what do you mean by that actually? So talk to me
So
about that. What was your experience with that set?
Um, interesting. Like with sports for me, I played for a while, and I that's where I came from starting originally with sports card collecting. And the some of the parallels that transferred over really interested me. What I saw happening, because that's the
Yeah.
beginning. So where's the end, middle, and the end game of these sports card, very popular, like the portrait and other things, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously PMGs transferring over, and how big could this get, and where's the potential.
Yeah.
So I was really excited. I saw a lot of the PMGs in 17, I think, when it came out. I really like them. I like the art. I like the way that the character pops from a
Mm-hmm.
PMG background. And excuse me. And I was really drawn to what I had seen over 20 years of, very rare sports card collecting. And I'm just like, man, these things are going to have legs. They're going to have
Yeah.
legs, and they'll hold up. Um, and if you go off the short waves and you wait, it's just going to, I think, continuously escalate. Granted, we have seen PMGs and other things drop a little bit now,
Mm-hmm.
but I got um, really interested into potential of a lot of these having big value. Um, and so I jumped in. I went, I think, case and a half or
Wow.
something with Spider-Man Metal.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you're talking at that point, vendor prices were, I think, when I got involved for Spider-Man Metal, around 4,500, I want to say.
Mm.
Don't quote me. And then so in between that and then the boxes from the next case, I think I was into Spider-Man Metal about 7,500 or
Oof.
so, and um, for the right reasons, thinking, okay, how big the PMG craze will be, and at that volume, when you get that many boxes, you're going to have, with Marvel Masterpieces, a predictable return. Um, that's not really the case with Spider-Man Metal. So the art being not original matters. The art
Yeah.
I thought was great. I loved some of those. The Venom from that set is
Mm-hmm.
awesome. There's just a ton actually. I've got a box of it right here sitting
The
next to me.
the Aunt May
There is.
Bong card. Don't forget that.
Say again.
The Aunt May Bong card.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's actually supposed to be a microscope, but looks like a
There's a
bong.
few. Oh yeah, and the Doctor Strange COVID
Yeah,
edition.
COVID strange.
The
And then
COVID
there's the
Strange.
Black Widow with the weird hands that are reaching out to.
Yeah, we
Uh,
got a COVID Strange right here, rock
oh
and
my
roll.
goodness me! Yeah,
Yeah,
there were some interesting choices for that set.
there were, there
Not
were.
all of them landed.
No, no, and so, but I was overall, I wasn't worried when I opened the set and started going through them. I wasn't worried there.
Yeah.
I started to get worried for some other people when I saw their breaks and I saw the condition issues.
Hmm.
I was very, 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 very lucky. I broke even on Spider-Man metal, um, and have obviously some boxes to keep for collection. But um, I was very, very lucky to do so there. When you get into um, the condition issues that I saw on the PMGs, on the portraits, some of them,
Hmm.
that stuff matters.
Hmm.
Even the Pank FXs, when you're talking about color matches on a Ghost Spider or something like that, um, it has to be right. The card has to be within that 8, 9, or really 10 spec on
Yeah.
average.
Yeah.
If you lose that, then you kind of lose a okay, will these hits help? How much can I put into set as each set that's coming out? If I don't have some guarantee, we can take a hit here or there.
Hmm.
But if most of my rare cards, and my serial numbered cards come out like that, it's gonna be tough next time
Yeah.
that set comes out to far as to have the faith in it. Um, I did, again, because of those parallels, the portraits shifting over. Um, I got into it and learned. Again, like for me. It's a win if you can. You don't always, you know. Some of it's learning, and
Yeah.
so Spider-Man Metal is like Fleer Ultra Avenger to me, and a few others where it's kind of a learning experience. I think that the wave of what's happened with Marvel Masterpieces has become so strong and pretty predictable that it's drawn people from outside of our world
Oh
that are
yeah.
investors.
Hmm.
I've had really good conversations with people who have bought cards at a high clip. $800 to $1,000 on a card is a lot of money to spend,
Hmm.
especially when you're talking about multiple thousands.
Yep.
And some of these guys that were buying, I noticed about 4 years ago, had little to no knowledge base on Marvel Masterpieces. Some of them weren't even really character collectors. They were purchasing for someone. They were buying up rare original art, rare SSAs, other things like
Yeah.
that, printing plates and stuff like that. And I would have a little conversation with them, and they didn't have a deep Marvel knowledge base or even in the product. They knew they were told to go ahead and make X amount of purchases in in um in these collectibles. And so some of these this stuff started popping up on these guys' radar about 4 or 5 years ago. And so that I noticed too, when all of a sudden
Hmm.
these guys are, oh, we just buy up sports stuff sometimes, and sometimes we get into movie memorabilia and things like that. And so, okay, why are you guys over here now? Like what's going? So, that kind of said something to me too. Um, and was kind of pretty interesting to see. Um, and so, I'm on eBay scouring, looking every day, talking to people, and next thing you know, bang, 2018 comes out. I just start seeing I was so busy then trying to build a house and stuff like that. The release snuck up on me.
Is that the house you're in
Um,
right now?
no, no, I've moved
Oh.
since, but
Oh,
I
okay.
was in I was in Estero, always been by the ocean in Florida,
Okay.
way down south. But I was in Estero, and I was, a lot of things going on with like a new construction where it's okay, did this work? Does that work? Change this. So the release, I still beat myself up about it, how it got past me, but I get back on when I had some time, and then bang, in a 2016 search now, all these new, and when I got a real good chance to see what Bianchi did in 18, and I mean go through just about every card, it really matter if it's your character, if you appreciate these things in general, you're gonna grab just about any card from 2018 Marvel Masterpieces
Mm,
and probably understand, all right, this is a little bit different than just about everything else.
mm,
Um, for me, I don't know if I was ever as chasing the art. When it came to, I was always interested and loved,
yeah.
McFarlane's the Black Spider-Man, some of the Spawn stuff was awesome. But 2018 changed my mindset from collecting, whether it was, shiny. All I wanted was shiny, sparkly, holographic, 3Ds, all that stuff. But it was all about the art after that for me.
Mm,
Because my mind instantly went to, who is this guy? Where did he come from? Um, because you can't fake effort and energy. You know what I mean? And so you look at those cards and you can see the effort and you can see the energy that the guy puts into it. Um, and so I just had to learn more.
and some of the
Like
ideas.
right,
I mean,
just go.
I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Morbius sitting on a floating rock.
Yes,
What's that all about? I don't care what it's about. It's
right.
cool.
It's cool.
It
It's
looks
just cool.
awesome.
Um, and like that's like the things I got a chance to ask him myself about
Mm,
the Venom card. Um, I've always loved him and his symbiotes and stuff like that. And
mm.
you know, in the different versions of the cards with the border on most of it, you don't see the meteorite at the top of the card. That's
Oh, yeah,
actually
yeah, yeah, of
the
course.
meteor that carries the symbiote to Earth. And so I asked him about it. I said I was just curious about that, and he turned to Matt Datillo, who puts together an amazing event. And Matt's just like because Simone was trying to, I guess the word for meteorite is a little different. He was trying to think of, and Matt goes meteorite, and boom, and you just to have that chance to go in and have a conversation with a guy who, you know, really changed your perception
Mm,
of what's important with these cards.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Um,
so back up a minute. For those who don't know, you're talking about the Bianchi breakfast event.
yes, sir.
So
Yeah,
where
the
was that?
one.
Where and when was that?
It was in Orlando, at the Orlando MegaCon.
Okay.
Um, when I think
Was
was
it last year?
last year, right
It
around
was
this time.
last year, wasn't it? 2022. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Amazing event. The scale of MegaCon, it just blew my mind. You're talking, I think they said, they told us that Saturday on the 4-day event had 235,000. Um, and
Oh, that's an uncomfortable amount of people in any space. Yeah.
it was on. I've been to big sports events like Daytona 500 and other things where
Okay.
and here in the States, you only get 65,000 to 100,000 in some of the biggest arenas.
Yeah.
And and then outdoor racing, now you can get up to almost 200,000, but 235,000 people in a comic venue,
Was it?
it,
I
it was
mean, was
insane.
it? Did they squeeze in, or is this a massive venue?
They did a great job. That
Okay.
building there is huge. It is
Right.
huge. And I think that their plans are they're trying to compete with Comic Con and San Diego as
Okay.
far as for numbers. I
Gotcha.
can probably understand the scale of that event's going to draw a lot of
Oh,
a lot of
I've no idea. I've no idea. I mean, my mind, if it, as someone who used to go to a fair number of festivals, well, I worked on one in particular, in the UK, my mind immediately goes to the toilet facilities.
Yeah.
When you talk about that many
Oh yeah.
people, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. It
forget about
wasn't
anything
bad.
else. Oh,
It
okay,
wasn't
good.
bad. To their
Okay,
credit, they picked the right building. They
okay.
are ambitious and want to get to that like 275 to beat out San Diego. So they've got another
Wow,
floor on
wow,
top of where we were, that just all the, as far as any comic related event, Comic Con or anything like that, is biggest I've ever been a part
wow.
of. Just insane. Um, there were a couple when some celebrities were coming out for the meet and greets and the signatures. There were a couple like interview spotlight there. Um, there were a couple instances where the crowd, if you had some small kids with you, you were taking notice, kind of moving
Yeah,
off
yeah,
to the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
side.
Mhm.
Fire department had to get involved, and but even that, to have you see videos of some of these concerts and things that happen when crowds go nuts.
Oh yeah.
This here was well handled, well, the issue was taken care of quickly. It didn't increase in being a problem. And
Mm.
so, credit to them. um Now Matt, with his event, um the breakfast, I get there early because I'm trying to be prepared. I try to
Mm.
prep. And so, like, I'm thinking,
So just one sec. So Simone's at this con as one of the artists,
yes,
yeah. So he's there for the duration,
correct.
and
He's
Matt's
there for the
obviously with
whole.
him because Matt reps him in the US, I believe.
Yes, sir.
So
Yep.
and Matt sets up this event where you pay for a ticket and you
Yes,
get to literally have breakfast with Simone,
correct.
I'm guessing.
And
But there's bells and whistles, aren't there?
there are, there are big
Right. So
time.
carry on, carry on. I just wanted to fill in a couple of gaps there,
Oh,
just for the
absolutely.
people, so we can paint them a picture.
The event in the morning, at least for the breakfast, they did a dinner event, which I recommend strongly, strongly.
Oh, did you do
Um,
that as well?
no, see, I
Ah,
couldn't because of my scheduling conflicts, but I wish if it goes around again in a similar fashion,
okay.
I'll go with I'll make the plans and the
You'll make it
preparation
happen.
to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because with the breakfast, we all got there. I'm there early, and we were allowed to bring 7 different cards to have signed,
Okay.
and there were canvas scale. Like, I have one of the large canvas prints of the Spider-Man, of the T4 Spider-Man,
Okay.
and he signed that as well. Um, and so, also, with a character of your choice, there's a bust painting that comes with it. Now, with Bianchi, nothing's just a bust or a painting,
Uh,
or there's always something more. So he creates these different versions of black and charcoal and grays and things like that. The man clearly has either a photographic or eidetic memory. Um, and so he brings in these different color tones, and to get to watch some of the videos of how he just wanted a new type of black with
mm,
just a little something extra on it, maybe a pearlescent or something like that, because he saw something out in the world, and
yeah.
bang, next thing you know, that's my Venom skin that I want. That stuff is just wicked cool. So, um, and the style that he does when he does these busts are, they're incredible. They're iconic.
Yeah.
The form. Everybody was blown away with there. It's just amazing. And I think that the guys who went to the dinner got a full scale. I think that was the difference.
Yeah, I vaguely
Full
remember
scale
seeing
painting.
it being advertised and promoted. I think going back to the Spider-Man one, am I right in thinking that there was some prints made of the artwork from the Tier 4 Spider-Man?
Sure.
And I think actually there was some left over that Matt made available in the groups. Unfortunately, I just didn't have the money for them at the time. I'd have loved to have had one of those because Simone does Spider-Man. Oh no, like
Yeah.
almost no one else. There's one particular variant cover issue of Amazing Spider-Man with Simone artwork on that I am determined to own a graded copy of.
Yeah.
because it's just you look at it and you're like, and then you
It's
look
an
again and you realize, okay, how is that physically? No, wait, where's his leg? Okay, and you're looking at it thinking, oh, hang on a minute, you're looking down on him, and
yeah,
you're above him, and he's in midair, and you kind of you're constantly kind of peeling back the layers as you're looking at the piece.
sure,
And
sure.
there are so many of his pieces that are like that. I mean, yeah, I just
That kind of detail,
yeah,
and then to capture the, like you're saying, to capture the action, or what's happening, where you go on a little story in your mind trying to
excuse me,
build this image,
yeah,
in 3D, or to try to like see this image of what
yeah,
comic cover he's done. And like you say, you're flying. You feel like you're behind the seat of a motion
yeah.
movie.
It's the kinetic energy that comes in. I mean, there's the what is it? It's the Wolverine canvas
Okay.
from
Yeah.
MM 2018. Wolverine's in midair.
Yeah, I think that's also one of the ones I had to get signed by him with yeah. I went Canvas, Spider-Man, preliminary.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
thought that would be something different.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Oh,
going to
that's
go the
that's nice seeing his signature in black. See, Simone's probably the one artist I'm okay with the gold sig because I've said it before and I'll say it again. His
Mhm,
signature is a work of artwork is an artwork in itself. It's
100%.
just
The
it's
only one I would
banging.
get graded. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even really big into a graded signature. I get, sometimes
Mm,
a guy has a bad day. Should that affect the value? I don't think so.
yeah,
As long as it's authentic.
yeah,
So I'm not a big fan of grading a signature. I'll grade a parallel all day.
yeah.
Um, but I'll even like here's a good example. I would do with the 2018 Ironman. So a lot of these where,
Mm.
it's authenticated and stuff,
Yes,
but
that's
not going
what
to
I
grade
would.
the.
Yeah, that if I was going to do that, that's where I would go with it.
But luckily, that's been great. The event was awesome. And I've had a chance, even before the breakfast, uh, to get my hands on a lot of the full holographic set of of signed and
Mm.
authenticated, um, and you have to do them in large groups and have a deal set up with your LCS, or an account yourself. You
Yeah,
wait for the right times, you can get them done pretty decent per unit,
yeah.
um, in a bulk. But yeah, at some point I've had a few of the kaleidoscopes. I went with 2018. I went a little overboard from a personal collecting perspective. I couldn't help myself. I went full red gallery set.
Oh,
I went
is that a 25? Is that 25?
yes, the
Yeah.
yep, the red galleries are
Wow. Okay.
25.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Not
I went
anymore.
full
Oh, shit.
kaleidoscope set, and that was a interesting chase. That was worldwide, and it was about 2 years.
Mm.
Because one or two of the cards got lost in Germany in a shipping deal where I could
Oh.
see it on the tracking. It looked awful. I thought I was never going to see the cards. I think it was the Punisher and maybe Groot, to finish it off. Was waiting for like 6 months. I couldn't believe they arrived, but
I've just got this. I just got this image. The Punisher and Groot is going on a massive piss up in Germany,
yeah,
just
I
having the
mean they
best
went
party.
around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They went around,
Wow.
and it was killing me because I'd put in all this work to complete
Yeah.
that, and I was like, man, a kaleidoscope set, that's something, not just a character. And I wasn't going to do this for every year, but
Mm.
18 just really,
Mm.
um, because the holographics in those, I know now we have the same image for 22. They, use the same for some of the
Yeah,
hollows,
yeah.
which
Mm.
I'm totally good with. Um, the hollows in 18, especially when you get to speckled and kaleidoscope, some of them take away from the really how amazing the image is. The
Yeah.
Thanos he did was just insane. To see Saturn in the background, and like you said, it's a little bit of a movie that you go on when you're looking at this thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Then all of a sudden you realize, well, if there's Saturn in the background, he's standing on Titan. Like that's
Of
cool.
course. Of
Right.
course.
You know what I
Of
mean? Like you
course.
got
Yes.
Saturn with the ring in the background, and it's beautiful. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful, picturesque type of
Yeah,
way of
yeah.
to show off a background. Everyone's going to do Thanos crushing skulls or in a thing of fire or coming out, stepping out of a portal.
Hmm.
But this was something that took a little bit. I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mean, to have the reference of Titan and being, I love space, but not everybody does, and I get that. Um, that meant, I look at that and again, the effort and the energy that you can't fake. And
Mm,
so that got me onto that chase for those kaleidoscopes, and they really have amazing art. It does get a little distorted with some of the
yeah.
hollow effect and things like that, but um, and you see it in the original or the preliminary rather when you either get a preliminary card of one of those in your hand or somebody who had the original penciling. Those hollow cards are amazing.
Do you have Simone's book
I do.
from
Yeah,
that year? Do I have
I
that
do.
here?
He
No, mine's in the house.
so he gave us, I think, as part of the package with the breakfast, we got two different books signed. And then he had a couple of like booklets that he'd made from some of his outside of Marvel art. Some of the
Gotcha.
like the Shogun stuff,
Yeah.
the armor sets that he was doing is just incredible. And it's another genre.
Mm,
So some people aren't exposed to like Jusko's fantasy art,
yeah.
or even know that these guys, they've got a story, and it's really, really great. Bianchi's especially
Mm,
to, he'll go into to talk about being humble, talking about his father, learning from the beginning, um, seeing different things, evolution as an artist. But one thing I was struck by when I say the guy's probably got an eidetic memory, um, he would talk to us about paintings that he would add stuff to over a scale of 5 to 8 years. So
what?
he would put in a character in the positioning, the anatomy is what maybe at first he had locked in. Okay, I've got my pose, I've got my, in my, but then going to the beach or on a vacation, he sees the waves on an ocean, and that is the scale for what he wants on the background of that painting. Takes that and then brings those waves crashing over to the rocks, brings that to a painting that he was working on years and years and years before,
Mm,
and sees a different element out in his travels and then says, wait a second, that's perfect for my venom breaking out of the egg.
gotcha. Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
The one of them was a wide panoramic that was a big project for him. And that was the one I think he said was like an 8 year deal. The
Wow.
size of it was that wasn't there for us to see.
Mm,
Um, Matt did bring a ton of stuff that was original art from other sets that are coming out. Releases, excuse me, um, that are coming out here soon. So we got a chance to see and purchase a few of these just amazing, amazing pieces.
wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
great, great time. It really was. Worth every penny. I'd recommend it to anybody. You've got to do it. It's
Yeah.
a connect with the
I
artist.
kind of I wouldn't mind it. There are Simone's significantly closer to the UK than the US. So Simone or
Yeah.
Matt, if you're listening, get to one of the London cons. Oh, I'll quite happily make that journey. I let's so masterpieces is clearly your kind of joy. You're swinging from set to set like Tarzan on a vine.
Oh yeah.
Um, let's talk about 2020 because I want to talk about 2020, and I'm going to share my screen and show you something. So
Okay.
you mentioned with Simone other works and other genres. And now Palumbo, Dave Palumbo has obviously done an awful lot of work for Magic the Gathering and an awful lot of other fantasy illustration. Um, he posted a piece on his Instagram the other day that absolutely floored me. I've no idea what's going on here, but it's stunning.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's just the, I mean, yeah. So for those who are on audio, there was a post that Dave Palumbo put on his Instagram on the 5th of September, and the piece is called Early Death. It's oil on panel. He thinks it's 18 by 30 because he can't quite remember. And this was done for Sideshow from a series called Court of the Dead, painted in 2018. It didn't make the release, but he was given go ahead to share it. And I've never seen any of the works from this set. So if he did other works from that set, I wouldn't mind tracking them down. But I've no idea what's going on here. But I'm just absolutely mesmerized by the composition,
Yeah.
by the just the feel of it,
Right.
the color palette of it. Um, it's so different to, I mean, it's very much Dave, but it's so different. You know, Dave in and of himself is so different from any other masterpieces artist beforehand. Um,
Yeah. I really enjoy this here. This is very well from, as you say, palette perspective.
mm,
It blends, and it's just very powerful. The image of floating like that with the Sith or the sickle. Um, yeah, it he has this ability to do tones, and it's just incredible. It reminds me of like a Renaissance style.
mm,
Um, so when I looked at some of the cards that he did in the beginning when the set first came out, it
yeah,
was I could see the brushstrokes. I loved it.
yeah,
I could see the brushstrokes and how they were used to form, and that's a different style for me when you compare it to 18 with the hard lines that
mm,
Bianchi typically has on his,
mm.
especially the edge of his character.
Yes, he does that
Very,
bordering, doesn't he, with the white,
yes,
which
yes,
is
and
just, which was, I didn't know what to make of it when I first saw it. But
that
it
Hulk,
just,
that Hulk there is in the Frog Thor.
oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
sorry.
oh,
We're going up, we're going through Dave Palumbo's Instagram feed. Sorry, Dave. But yeah, this one,
yeah. See that
that's
right there that's a home run. That's
that's
a that's
fun.
a home run. It just it
It's
kills it.
it's just the cape. It's just the way the cape just frames him, and the
Yeah,
color. You know that he stands out because of the choice to have the cape billowing like that. You know, so
right.
you got the green on the red. It just I love it.
Now
Um,
the background of the cape, this area in what would be like behind Frog Thor's body,
mm,
that's what I love. Is just the blending and everything
yes,
is so beautiful.
yeah. No, it's amazing. And when you go down, well, I was going to try and so I know who had this commission. I don't know if he's actually announced it yet, but
I love that.
I mean, look at the perspective. Look at the building. Look at the height.
Yeah, we're 20 stories on top of an 80-story building.
Yeah, and this is Venom and Spidey going at it clearly.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just
The Here's some of the things that I'm kind of a snob about the Venom with the spider. It's got to be right. and
mm,
and this one's just beautiful.
mm,
It's
mm,
beautiful. Something like that is the silly little things. The next thing I immediately comes to my eye is the webbing, the different structure on the webbing, how it looks like it could stop a building from falling over, stop
yeah,
a railway car from falling off the tracks, to
yeah.
suspend them in
Well,
any.
it's in the comments. You know, Dave says, you know, I think of them as McFarlane style, and they very much are. You know,
Yes.
the way the webbing works. It's just so I know none of
I,
these pieces were in the masterpieces set, but they are. You
did
know,
you ever come across when they were doing the artificial webbing, the that card set that had the little piece in
Oh, you
plexi
mean
of
the Twizzlers from Fleer Ultra Spider-Man 2017? Everyone called them Twizzlers. I never actually had
that's
one.
what they
I know they're thick AF. I know they're big boys.
oh yeah.
But I never picked one up. It was just a bit. I don't know. I mean, I could have. I think I had one for a while. I traded it. I think I pulled one because I did a fair amount of that product
Okay.
over the couple of years it was live when I was on EPAC. Um, and I
That's
think I think
hilarious.
I traded it away, but it just seemed a little bit too gimmicky for me.
Yeah, you know what
I like the
the
idea though.
especially the Carnage now the Carnage one, funny enough, looked exactly like a Twizzler because his webbing
Yes,
was red.
yeah.
Uh,
They were very
the
limited, the Carnage ones,
the
if I remember correctly.
Venom ones also like licorice, like black licorice, but
Yeah.
some of the Spider-Man ones I thought were pretty cool. I had a couple, but and sold them. I wish that the webbing had that McFarlane or what Plumo did there in that battle,
Mm.
painting that we just looked at. Um, yeah, see, yeah, see, in the mask, the form fit to what's a very realistic like anatomy and structure
Yeah,
to this whole thing. The
yeah.
suit looks like it wins. It's perfect
It's
for
just, I mean, we're looking at a different piece now, not the Venom one. We're looking at one from the 12th of November 2021. So this is going back a few years, but it's just, yeah. I mean, look at it. It's great. It's really
backgrounds.
good.
He kills it with the backgrounds, and
Yeah.
I really do think that I, as I've started to look into these artists and get more infatuated, I would say,
Mm,
with their respective styles, that you've got again, this is a
this is a silk we're looking at from
right, and
October
I know you
21.
love this one.
Yeah.
The buildings in the background, it works. It's scale is big here.
Yeah,
You can. It's a big, grandiose background with
it is. It is. It's almost, it doesn't quite, but it in the hands of any other artist, this would this would overwhelm the piece because the background is so, yeah, impressive and
yeah,
imposing, but it really
right,
works because he's kept your focus on her. But
yeah,
I think they work in tandem. I think it's a really good kind of balance between the two. Um, and so I'm looking at this and I can kind of see Dave's photographer kind of eyes, just in the
yeah,
background and the way that he frames stuff. I mean, I know these are all very much physical, man-made backgrounds because of the characters being in cities. Um, but yeah, it's just it's just wonderful. It
yeah. Oh
really
yeah,
is.
yeah. And the to fit it in there, the Moon Knight is
Let's
so
have a look at that Moon Knight. Oh,
that was the very first. Um, no, the War Machine was my very first Red Spectrum from 2018.
ah,
That was my first.
from 2018.
Yep, yep. That was the first Red Spectrum I had. I wasn't able to. I wasn't in early enough
Yeah,
with 16 to get enough supply in order
I'll
to.
stop sharing on Palumbo's screen for the moment because it's just I'm just getting distracted. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
me
going to be an
too. Me
episode where we just describe
right.
Dave
We're just
Palumbo's
going through
Instagram to
all of
everyone.
them.
Um, I had, yeah, I've mentioned this before, but I didn't pull. I only broke 3 boxes physical of 2018, and what a
Okay.
joy they were. Um, I think I got a cap tier 4 What If was my biggest hit,
Yeah.
which I traded because I wasn't collecting those. But the I did subsequently acquire two red spectrums, Falcon,
Okay.
and what else did I get? I had Wonder Man as well.
So you got Falcon.
I had Falcon for a period of time. It's now with someone else.
Okay.
I sold
Yeah,
it
I
on
like
Blue.
that one because the image worked for me. I was
Yeah.
big on that Falcon
Well,
card.
both of them I liked because they were some of the lighter pieces in the
Yeah.
set. I mean, Wonder Man is a white background effectively, and
Right.
then the characters, within that. Um, And I think it's such an interesting contrast because some of the pieces, we've talked about this before, is some of the pieces come through maybe darker than they were possibly intended
Mhm.
to in the final print. Um, but the Wonder Man piece just works because it's such a contrast to some of the other pieces in the set, and
Yeah.
not a character I was aware of before then. I mean, I'd kind of heard of him, but I'd never really gotten into him, and I think in the end I managed to get one of each color plate for it and the full rainbow short of the preliminary art.
Right.
And I passed that on to another collector now. That's gone. That's left me. Um,
Now, you mentioned about them coming out a little bit darker
mm,
than intended, possibly in like when it came to production.
mm,
Um, how he does that outline, Bianchi does those strong,
yeah,
character defining outlines.
yeah,
That's what made it work for me.
yes,
I'm with you as far as I'm kind of big on the lighter, brighter side of things. As far as what I would prefer, it doesn't matter, but I like those light cards.
mm,
Um, I had no issues with how the Winter Soldier
mm,
card, and that set is just awesome. But I mean, he's Cheshire Cat. You
yeah,
see eyes in a
yeah, yeah,
in a
yeah.
smile, and
Oh, I know. I love a good old dark card. Don't get me wrong.
right,
I mean, the Magneto from that set is an absolute barnstormer. The
yeah,
prelim, I have to say, the preliminary of Magneto is almost better than the finished piece. There's
yeah.
something about it. It's just the way it comes out. But what a set
Um,
to start the prelims with.
Now, having looked at some of that Palumbo stuff, we were just looking at
Mm,
it. It goes to show you the different styles from
yes.
what I would call a lot of the Renaissance paintings that I saw with the brush strokes and
Hmm.
the blending and the way that's
Mm,
done.
mm, mm.
That's what Plumo's work in regards to. That's what I see most in what he does,
Yeah.
just about everything. And it was awesome that that didn't change for this character content. It didn't change because it was Wolverine and
Yeah.
Hulk. He stuck true to what he does in that style, and that I think certainly helps me timestamp 16, 18, 20, 22 in my mind is
Mm,
just the respective arts.
yeah. Yeah. Different styles.
Jusko, like the Godfather, like yourself. Original, knew it, strong, bright colors.
Mm,
18 came on, opened my mind to the different types of art and how crazy detailed we can get. In 20, again, another style with Plumo.
mm,
And now here in 22, Dos Santos, again, I feel like I didn't watch any of the videos on how some of the original arts were done. I would be interested to know how he does his blending and how because it's that Jubilee and a few others are they're perfect. The skin
mm.
tones and the it reminds
They're
me
clean.
of yes, very very clean. And a few of them, the storm. I was just
I mean,
again
all the canvas pieces.
yes
I look
that
at them.
that
I've got some here. Oh, thank you, by the way, for your trade.
yeah
It arrived
yeah
the other week. Did mine arrive, by the way?
it did
Ah,
it
good,
did.
good, 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 good.
Um,
Sorry, I've just got to pull up a canvas here. I've got this stack. I need to be,
yeah,
I need to take it out of a sleeve, but just
absolutely
the lighting
is awesome.
and through the
Is
hair as
awesome.
well.
Both like hair, the suit, the skin tones, he just makes it so clean. That had to be really, really difficult for those canvas. All those canvas ones are just
Mm,
they're all winners. And when it comes to, if you're a Black Widow fan, then you're looking at that and you're placing it in your, like the challenge, like everyone's been
of
doing.
course.
And you know, when again not being able to fake effort and energy, you could see how hard the guy worked. You can see that Hulk there is it is tough to do a good Hulk head.
Mm.
Body, yeah, we're gonna blow it up. It's gonna be big and muscles everywhere we get. But the hair, the facial features, the
Yeah.
emotion is just
Hang on a minute.
awesome.
Hang on a minute.
I see you got
I
it.
modelled. I modelled for it. There we go. Little known secret. I was down to
Another
Santos model.
that reminds me of Pat King. A
Pat
few
King, yeah.
he's gotten a ton of cards from me in the past,
Yes.
and it's really great to have a conversation with a guy who gives you a story about how he modeled for some of
Yeah.
these paintings,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
every one of us
For
can
2020.
picture
Mm.
every one of us can picture somebody with a, or at least there's a window into my weird mind, where artists are sitting there, holding a thing of grapes in front of their Johnson or whatever, and people are painting. Well, that kind of has to happen for some
Mm.
of these cards.
Mm.
Granted, the
Mm.
suits aren't always happening, but someone that's similar form, size, and
Yeah.
a lot of times some
Yeah.
artists just go that route.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And to have a conversation with a guy that you're selling cards to that modeled for the
Mm.
card you're selling him, that's killer.
Yeah.
You don't get, you know what I mean? That's just
Yeah.
awesome
Now, for
experience.
those who don't know, Pat was a model for at least, I want to say at least 20 pieces for Masterpieces 2020.
Okay.
I might have got that number wrong, but it was a fair chunk of them. I mean,
Yeah.
you
I
can
I didn't know it
actually
was that
see
many.
that he's Craven. You can actually, he was Wolverine, he was
Yeah.
Punisher, he was Deadpool.
I mean,
The painting behind Deadpool. That's and Pat himself has posted his photo reference because basically he met up with Dave Palumbo in hotels. That sounds seedy, but in hotels, and they would do photo sessions. Um,
okay.
but Pat talks about all this on a past episode of this podcast before we did video, unfortunately. So um,
Okay.
it's I can't remember. I'm surprised you haven't heard it. I need to let me just. I'm going to scroll through.
Yeah, I
Keep
was
talking. I'm going to scroll through and shout out the episode number so that folk can go back and check it out.
um yeah, so he was great to have conversation with, kind of get a little bit of a behind the scenes, um very much like you know in the production process of these cards has always interested me,
Yeah,
always.
yeah, yeah,
And so to get a little bit of a window into the process that makes Marvel masterpieces happen, it kind of helps separate from a Spider-Man metal, a Fleer
mm,
Ultra Avenger,
mm,
or something
mm.
like that. Not to put those sets down, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you can see that the layers of, from artists going as far as to making sure they're modeled on a
yeah,
scale to make
yeah, yeah, yeah.
things. That takes a lot of extra work and time,
Mm,
and it's just there,
it does.
and it's awesome. And Pat's he's a really good guy too.
He's a really good dude. He was on episode 66, which was released on the 1st of October 2020. My goodness me, that's another life.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago.
Right.
3 years ago. Oh my
Yeah.
giddy aunt. Right.
It
Okay.
doesn't seem like this is crazy. Like, I mean, 2020's release, I felt like I was up in upstate New York on vacation, not far from where Matt Datillo is.
Oh yeah.
Um, and of course, the emergency thing comes on my phone. Case has arrived. I
Oh
panic because it's not supposed to be just delivered and let go.
yeah,
I'm in
yeah, yeah.
South Florida where, I mean, there's a hurricane on its way right now, well, as we're talking. Um, so
Oh,
all I'm picturing in my mind is this brand new case of 2020 sitting on my front door getting hammered by the torrential downpours of the South Florida
mm,
tropics. Um, so I had to call a neighbor. Neighbor runs over there. I'm like, put it in your safe. Just don't put it in the house, because if the kids see it and they open it up, this could be,
yeah, yeah.
put it in the safe. But yeah, now time goes by way too fast, and now we're 2022. We, I mean, for a while I didn't know, because of the pushback. It's coming. It's coming.
Mm, oh yeah.
But they're Marvel masterpieces. They can do what they want to
They'll
do.
be ready when they're ready.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Yeah.
I know this sounds crazy, but with as much as I love it, I'm I'm fine with waiting. I no problem with whether
Yeah,
it's
me
for
too.
to keep QC on quality, um, things like the different logistics of the artist. Bianchi's in Italy.
Yeah.
You don't always catch a guy in California or the
Mm,
Northeast US. So a lot of this stuff does take time. Um, Now we were talking about another style of bright, strong art that was just it was exciting and it was worth the
mm,
wait.
mm,
So I can understand from a prep perspective because anybody who um, has an LLC or whatever your involvement in this is, it is important that you're about a year in front of release if you
yeah.
really want to see what you can do with the set. Um, and it got difficult when you're pivoting Fleer Ultra Avenger, Spider-Man Metal, and other things in that meantime. And sometimes it can mess with focus. But once it came out, what did we see? Obviously a ton of effort put into another
Mm.
killer Marvel masterpiece set. And it's different. It's
Yeah.
different than 2020, and it's different than
Vive la
18.
différence. That's the whole thing with masterpieces.
Variety is the
Yeah.
spice of life.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
this is I mean, I'm looking at it trying to criticize the set. Like I'm trying to be a critic of Marvel masterpieces and things because they do so many things well that when I'm trying to pick it apart, it's difficult.
Mm,
That's when I feel like a good idea, you might be
mm,
onto something where
mm,
even
mm.
though it's your own idea, you hammer it down with all these what's wrong with it, what's wrong with it, what's wrong with it. And with Marvel masterpieces, what a little bit of extra time is all that it might be. But when it
Mm, mm,
happens,
mm.
it's going to be the set that carries on the
Yeah, yeah,
catalyst for
yeah,
the hobby
yeah.
till the next Marvel masterpiece
And gets
release.
a whole load of new people interested as well, which isn't a bad thing.
Right.
So what's your journey with 2022? What's your build? What's your set?
I'm doing the very first time I'm doing the variant set.
Oh,
So
the what if, as it
yeah,
used to be called. Yeah, yeah.
I still call it that. It's impossible for me to program that.
I mean, I know why they did it because they had what if dropping 2 weeks later. So kind of,
That was it.
yeah.
That was it.
And in the what if set, they've got a battle spectrum insert.
Right. Yeah, they couldn't at that point. That probably I really love them being called what ifs.
Mm.
Um, that just as far as parallels, which I'm big into. Um, that was a great because you usually have one of the like you were able to pull out one of those comics where the verbiage on the comics in the
Yeah,
literature, the colors, the bubble pops,
yeah,
um, those things were the first appearance of Doctor Doom, blah blah
yeah,
blah,
yeah, yeah.
and it's just you get that on the card. And for guys like us who, have been around from the comics and it's an instant nostalgia,
Oh yeah.
instant kid, opening the packs or buying comics for the first time. So I love that parallel set. I never collected it. I just had T4s of what ifs in
Oh,
16,
okay.
18. So this time I went variant set, and I still have a few I need to grab. Um, and then I did preliminary for the T4.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, I mean, snagged it up at a just a great, I hit one or two, and then through trades and everything, put together a T4 set for next to nothing. I mean,
Nice.
it was not bad yet at all. And just for something different, when I display these things, it's 16, 18, 20 T4s. Everything else is in books. But T4s and then the canvas.
Nice.
Um, and then I have a whole other table where I'll do kaleidoscopes and the holographics cards and stuff like that.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I've got my T4 preliminaries and then I'll be working on the canvases. I've got a few to grab there. Uh, I will tell you, we were talking about the canvases for 22, in reference to cards that have what I call legs, because they're gonna stand tall and the value
Yeah,
is
yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
there. That Spider-Man canvas card is as close to perfect as you could as you could hope.
Mm,
It is very investable. You look
mm.
at that card, whether you go red or blue, it is
Oh, I'm just going base, so I'm glad you've clarified there because I haven't got the base
yeah.
yet.
Well, but so the gallery ones, it's it's a weird thing because the printing process for a true gallery card with the canvas texture to it is phenomenal. Is
Yeah.
one of the big draws for me on that. When you get a gallery, it changes to what we're used to with the
Yes. And
and
that's
the
why, sorry, there's an insect. I've got no idea what that is. It's now a dead insect. Sorry, insect.
that is all right.
Apologies. Yeah,
No
I
worries.
used to go for, and I had them all for 18, and I had about half of them at one point for 2020. Then I bailed. The gold gallery at that
Yeah.
point, and especially for 2018 because it's printed on a kind of a brighter gloss stock as
Hmm.
opposed to the canvas, the colors tend to mute on the base canvas just because
Hmm.
of the type of material that it is. Um,
Yes.
and you just get the full vibrancy of them when you go onto the
The
full
gallery,
versions. Yeah.
those 16 gallery golds,
So they're
probably
called
some.
bronze, aren't they, on that year? Aren't
I
they
think so.
bronze? Yeah, I think they're bronze. Yeah, I never went for those. It's one of the things. I mean, I did it. I didn't choose to do it because of the market doing what it was doing. I chose to do it because I decided to have a mass purge of pretty much all my parallels because I realized I had too many cards,
Yeah.
So I just decided to go for the base. Um, and I at that point the market on them was exceptionally buoyant. So I did okay. Um, do I regret parting with a couple of those tier four, not tier four, those gold gallery from 2018? Sure, I do. You know,
Yeah.
the Wolverine is an
Yeah. That.
absolute banger in gold gallery. Um, so
Yeah.
so yeah, there's a few of that, and Phoenix as well.
But oh, that Phoenix is
Yeah,
awesome.
it doesn't
That
doesn't
T
it really dulls it on the regular canvas, but you go gold gallery,
the
chef's
that
kisses.
Phoenix gallery, and then the T4 Phoenix with
Mm,
in space with the
yes,
Firebird forming behind her,
yeah.
just perfect. He didn't go too far on the Firebird and make it all about that. You just
No,
see
but he had fun with it. You could
like
tell he
the
had fun with it.
Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah, the like oh man, it's just perfect. As a matter of fact, I think about the black signatures. I think I did the
Uh,
negative for the preliminary on that one.
yeah, yeah,
Haven't
yeah,
signed that one. But yeah, I mean that's one of the how many I have just sitting at my side every day.
yeah.
Um, absolutely love those gallery cards. I'm torn on. I almost wish you're absolutely right about the material and how it mutes some of the colors. I'm very impressed on the new galleries from 22, how strong and bright they do
Oh,
look.
they do. I think it's just the way the light hits that surface. It's just,
Yeah,
it's always going to be. Oh, I got my
I can.
first tier four purple in hand, which
Okay.
I love this. I'm not usually a
Yeah.
massive
Oh,
door
yeah.
person, but
Right. Now, and talk about the hammer. When you got Mjolnir like that, and
yeah.
it's got a description, it's
And you got the
got the
words,
whole
yeah,
Odin's whole spiel about,
yeah.
check this out. You're worthy, you can lift this thing, let's go. Like that's, that adds something to the card that you just don't get that. And
My
Thor's
daughter
already.
saw this and she goes, "Oh, a rainbow," and I said, "Yes, that's how he travels around between
Yeah.
planets." She was
Now,
like,
can I ask you, is he sitting on the pillar of Hercules? Because that's what it looks like to me.
"Well, he's sitting on
Hercules
a pillow. I don't know if it's Hercules' one.
has
Who knows?
been, maybe not. I don't know.
Don't
I know
know."
I've seen a couple Hercules cards where one of them he's leaning against it, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken. Like
okay, all right,
he's
yeah, yeah,
leaning, what do they call it? Like wall sitting. It's a
yeah,
weird
yeah.
position, but he's like wall sitting on the pillar of Hercules, and that thing, you know, that the Thor, my very first and oldest comic was Thor
Yeah.
versus Hercules,
I tell you what I love is
1979.
the detail is if you look down at this corner, you won't see it on my camera because my camera's shite. There's grass growing just like between cracks in the rock
Yeah,
that you can see, and it's just the detail on it is brilliant. And
right.
obviously it was painted larger, but yeah, no, it's
It's just amazing.
I mean,
And
if
so
it,
that kind of stuff's worth waiting a little bit of extra time for.
yeah, and the battle spectrum this year just pop.
Yes.
Whatever they've done with the foiling this year, is something about it
Hmm.
just elevates that.
They really have. They really
It
have. And
they've absolutely nailed it.
you can tell that they've again, I mean, from obviously the work that goes into scouting the artist on a production level,
Hmm.
I love it. Every time they get a crack at the apple, it seems like they're continuing to try to improve the process.
Yeah,
They're trying to refine it. They're trying to get it better and better.
yeah.
And it shows. It seems to
Yeah,
show.
no,
These
it's
battle
good.
specters are absolutely improved.
Yeah.
These new canvases, I do feel like the regular canvases are, whether it's the exact same printing process or not, they're better. They just are.
Well, I think the just the I mean, there's a sweet spot there with the way that Dan painted those portraits and that particular style of card. I think it's just perfect. Yeah, it just comes together. Yeah, it really, really works.
And metallurgy is one of my favorite parallels that have been created in the last few years.
Mm,
I love the platinum portrait carryover. I really do.
hmm.
EMG stuff was cool, but in all this stuff, you know, the metallurgy, it really wheels and things started turning when that happened.
Mm. Yeah, I love a
And
metal card.
absolutely. And so I was interested in the printing process in 20 with how they went about making them. I had no issue with the hand, you know, Sharpie
Oh,
numbers
I
on
don't
the
care about
bottom.
that at all. Yeah.
Yeah, that was for me. I was like, cool, man. At least I can picture in my mind, you know, homie checking the list at Upper Deck,
Some
going, all
poor
right,
fucker having to
yeah,
write those numbers on all of them.
number
There's an
four, and
afternoon's
then
work. Yeah.
right, scratching down. All right, so that stuff was fine.
Mm.
The If you take a 20 metallurgy and a 22 metallurgy, and you compare them apples for apples, you'll see exactly what we've been talking about here. Is that even just the second? I mean, nobody had the first iPhone. Every one of us has one now. Gen 1, Gen 2, you know, supposed to be
Yeah.
in. They just have the second, you know, time to produce these metallurgies, and they're way better. They
Mm.
are way better than the first
Mm.
set in 20. They're crisper. The bordering was done a little bit more strategic to show off the character
Yeah.
as much of a background as they could. You know, you're going to lose a lot of that with the way the
Mm.
metallurgy is, but they're centered a little bit better to show the character and not worry about like a true centering of the
Yeah.
image. Um, and then the printing process is somehow different, whether it's the ink or the thickness or whatever they did, they
Mm.
manipulated it somehow. It's much
Okay.
stronger, glossier, and a little brighter on the new ones.
Wow. Okay.
Um,
I haven't
and
I haven't
that's
seen one yet.
it. Really, I noticed these improve, like the battle specter that you showed is a huge example of uh, just some of the improvements in the
Mm.
process,
Mm.
foiling and
Mm.
adjusting these things. Um, some of the background battle specter cards had these crazy things in them before, and you never saw it.
Yes.
You know, you sometimes you didn't pick it up because of
Yeah.
whatever the color of the original art.
Yeah.
So now it seems like they're getting through to getting it all the resolution in there as well.
It's so good. Have you seen the battle spectrum they did for the What If set?
No, so
They're
I'm just
incredible.
learning about that. What the what if set
Yeah.
is? I like it. I
Let me
like it.
find. I've got one here somewhere. Hang on a second. Where is it? Oh, he says, almost breaking his back, trying to reach for it. There it is. There it is. I knew it was in there. I got two, but this one is particularly gorgeous.
Yeah, I like the landscape
Yeah, but it's
mode, and
thin.
yeah,
It's a thin
okay.
cardstock.
Is it? It looks thicker than 35, but
No, I think it's 35.
okay.
But look at the back. It's the full masterpieces layout and design and
Okay, this is
lettering.
the first time I have seen that.
Yeah, mate, seriously. I'm picking up a set of these from What If. It's the only element of What If I'm collecting at the moment. Although at some
I
point
gotta
down the
get
road, I
some.
might go for the Black Diamond. But I'm going to have a set of these in with my Masterpieces 2022.
Yes.
For me, this because they came out like within 2 weeks of each other, it just works.
So it has the Marvel Masterpieces logo at the
Yeah,
bottom.
it looks like a Masterpieces card
It does. It looks
in
exactly
every
like a
way,
battle.
apart from the inclusion of the word of the What If logo there.
How did they
Everything
sneak this?
else.
Like, I can't believe that was
And
brilliant.
I'm pretty sure this is the reason why they don't call them What If in this year's product.
You're 100% right.
So
You have to be because
um,
I had no idea that
they're just incredible.
they
I've
allowed
got two in
for.
hand so far. Um, but I've got another one. I haven't seen many episodes of What If yet. So some of the references. This one, the
They were
background's not
awesome.
so strong, but
Okay, T'Challa. Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, it's just lovely.
I'm really impressed. I did
They're
not
really nice.
see. So the parallels that I were looking at when I started to get exposed to were some of the gem cards where it has the stones in the bottom or the diamonds.
Of What If? Yeah, the Black Diamond. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I recognize those from Black Diamond,
Yes.
and those are the only ones I saw. And then I was just off to researching. I wasn't looking at images anymore. So you've just showed me the first, Battle Spectre, like the setup for the card, the back, the trim, the
So there's
fact
the
that it says Marvel
medallion.
Master.
There's the medallions from What If.
And
Oh,
so those I had seen as well,
yeah,
but it,
but
it
they're
didn't give
thin.
me. They
Again,
are.
they're thin
Huh.
medallions, which is actually more satisfying than the thick ones.
Okay.
Sometimes less is more. And then, of
Yeah.
course, you will have seen the where is it? This is me. Just I literally have stacks of cards around me at
Oh,
the
me
moment.
too.
It's just
I'm
crazy.
surrounded here.
And then, of course, you've got the Marvel Universe 1990 style,
And so, okay, so I saw a couple of those.
and they are again the back is
What if
the same, apart from the
the
What If logo.
original?
Yeah.
I'm expecting to see the power rankings, like
Yeah, no, they didn't do
agility.
them on this set. They didn't do them on
Okay.
MU90. I don't think. Having said
Yeah, I
that, I'm
mean,
hoping I'm not wrong because I'd
we
sound
can
really
all
silly.
remember an argument in those early sets came
Oh
out where
yeah.
somebody's like, wait a second,
Oh yeah.
there's
Marvel
no.
Universe 92 is definitely was is the one I remember for power rankings.
Cats would
Um
be like, wait a second, this Iron Spider, there's no way
yeah.
he's got 8 on the power scale. It's just fights all
So
the
yeah, but
time.
now you can do it all over again. It's great.
Right.
But
Yeah.
anyway, let me put this
You
back over
just
here.
spent some money for me, is basically what happened just now. Because now that I've seen um, those, the bordering, the trim, the back of the card,
Mm.
that's a Marvel masterpiece
It
card,
is.
dude.
It is.
That's a
Um,
Marvel
in
masterpiece
the same
card.
way, now not a lot of people know this, but in fact, quite a few people do. In the Deadpool set, there was
Okay.
a masterpieces style piss take. So
Really?
there's some masterpieces style cards in the Deadpool set.
No shit. I
Um,
the one where he's like leaning on the Tower of Pisa and
no, 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 no. Yeah, yeah. You're thinking of the ones from Fear
with
Ultra
Chichen
Spider-Man and
Itza
Fear
and
Ultra X-Men. But no, in Deadpool, the actual Deadpool set, there
gotcha.
are
Okay.
some. Let me. I'm just gonna pull it up on EPAC because they're. I think I have them or used to have them at one point. They're really fun cards. Let me just.
What
That's the
year were
thing.
they?
That's the thing with. Oh, it's Deadpool set was 2018. I want to say 2019 maybe.
Hmm.
Um, let's find it. Right. So I will share my screen in just one second, but It's the thing with EPAC. Do you do EPAC? I don't remember ever seeing you on
Yeah,
EPAC.
yeah. So I did a decent amount of EPAC right around 2019. I think I started.
Gotcha.
Um, so I did do Marvel Masterpieces for 2020 on EPAC.
Hmm.
Um,
Here we go.
now,
Deadpool bombing, it's called. Right. So I'm
okay.
going to share my screen with you again. So this is a fun one for folks because they might not know this exists. Let's get rid of that. So let me move the little window with us out of the way. Here we go. Deadpool bombing. And it's basically Deadpool in different set styles.
Oh wow.
So in this one, you've got, let's look at this one. I think this might be a Jusko piece. One sec.
Yeah.
And it's literally another print of the card.
How did these like sneak past? I mean,
Yeah, so if you're properly going masterpieces completion, you're
right.
going to need Deadpool bombing card DB1. And then the second one, I believe, is masterpieces. No, I think it's 2016 again. It's just
Yeah,
goes
yeah, because
drool.
I can tell from the
Yeah.
that's how much of a sickness this becomes where by the style of the trim, the
Oh, you can
bordering on
tell.
the
Yeah,
trim,
yeah,
you can
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's like, oh
There you
man.
go. Look, there's
Yeah, that gore
look,
is awesome. And
look at it.
that's just a
It
fun version of the card.
Yeah, it is. I don't think they're thick. I've not had them in hand. I think they're
Okay.
but look, they do it for other styles. So there's a Fleer Ultra X-Men one there. Some Fleer Ultra X-Men ones here where he's bombing those. And then they do it with Premiere. You can see here.
Yeah.
There's three
Yeah,
Premiere ones.
he's bombing the
And
fucking
then you go back to masterpieces. So there's three, yeah, there's a Premiere. So there's Premiere, Fleer Ultra X-Men and masterpieces. And the third and last one of these is Hella from 2016. Um, I need to pick these up. They are cheap as chips. I mean, they're really easy to find. But look at that.
That's awesome.
It's just
That's awesome.
absolutely
I love the
hilarious.
yeah, I love that hella anyways, and that just
Yeah.
makes it better.
So yeah, so there we go. So if you want three extra cards to go in your
Yeah,
2016 set,
you just crushed a lot of people who thought they had every version of, you
well,
know,
yeah, that's the thing. It's a difficult one. I mean, there's so many little things out there. I mean, listen, there's with 2016, you've got the promos, the two promos. You've got the non-sport update and the Philly Card Show one, Spidey and Hulk, and everyone thinks, oh, okay, that's it. But of course, that artwork also appeared on some legendary cards. So I think there's about five legendary cards with the artwork on. And then Clear Ultra Spider-Man 2017. Everyone forgets about the red parallel of the Spider-Man card that was the promo in non-sport update,
I
which
remember the
is
promo.
thickness as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's some good extras out there if you really want to just
I was a
cap off
big
your
fan of
collection.
the 16 promos, the green Hulk and the red Spider-Man.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
anybody who thinks that there's no way they'll ever have a red Spider-Man, there's a
yeah.
way to grab
You can
one
get it.
for
You can get it. I mean, then
yeah,
there are that they themselves aren't cheap, but they're damn sight cheaper than getting the actual Spider-Man at this point.
right.
Set it back 100, $200 maybe. I
Sure.
saw
Yeah,
someone
last I checked.
set them in the group recently. Um, so I'm just looking at you because you did the most amazing prep for this episode, and you basically, I just said, let's just have a chat. And to be fair,
Oh yeah.
I was a little bit lazy because I came off the back of because I've recorded. I don't normally record 2 days in a row, so I recorded yesterday with
Okay.
someone. And I'm recording today, and I was just a bit like my brain's empty. I don't know
Yeah.
what to talk about. And you came through with this list. I mean, it was
Hey.
a brilliant list.
Well, it
Um,
was it was easy because you know, honestly, from listening to a few episodes before, kind of what I like to hear was where did someone get started? You know,
mm,
how did they run into this? And then life happens. So there's
yeah, yeah,
usually always a gap.
yeah, yeah. It's a
And then
similar
I'm
pattern. Mm,
typically interested in what brought them back and how does
yeah.
that, and so from a couple episodes, you know, and you do a great job. You know, you put a lot of effort into this group.
Thank you.
You know, for a long time now, it is not easy having an opportunity to be when you get a team at work and you know you're managing bodies and managing people. Um, Really, it shows you the different types of personalities that you have to deal with. And when the numbers started to grow in the group and got to like some of the numbers we have now, um, people just sometimes don't realize how difficult that can be to continue to set a strong example, keep this community, you know, rolling in a positive way, man. The stuff that I've had happen to me personally since I got involved in the group has been amazing. I mean, I wouldn't have a comic book company. I wouldn't have met, you know, all these artists and gotten the experiences. And it's everyone thanks you for the hard work.
Bless you.
And I
Thank you.
can only imagine how special it has to be to see something that was an idea when you created it. And now it's not only blossomed, come to fruition, it just keeps growing into like a living entity. It's just,
I think the expression "it's gone fucking nuts" would probably be
it's
the most
freaking nuts.
would probably be the most
Yep.
appropriate. In fact, that might need to be the new group's slogan.
It should be. It's a good
Yeah,
one. But
MCCW. It's gone fucking
and
nuts.
and I understand everybody in a little bit of craziness with 22 here and stuff, and I get it. Um, I would say to people, don't sweat it. You know, don't sweat this little stuff. The hobby is amazing. Our group is as good and as strong as it's ever been, and it really, really the contacts, the people I've made, the experiences I've had since it's worth it. It's worth all of it. And yeah, we all thank you
Bless you.
again.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So talk to me about your what's on your t-shirt.
Okay. So yeah, we got
Kennedy
the
Comics.
the Kennedy
And I think I've got a
Comics.
couple of stickers and things that you've sent over here somewhere.
Yeah,
I can't find
yeah.
them now. This room is a shithole. I need to
Oh
spend more
no,
time in here sorting stuff out.
my
So talk to me.
apartment's
How
got
did that
stacks
start?
of.
That's all right. I've
So
got some of those. Yeah.
yeah, so about you know about a year and change ago, kind of got into figuring out how to get in with distributors. And if you want to get an account with, and Jody will probably should probably give me the eye. She's like, "Don't give away the blueprint to the business model."
Secret
No,
sauce. Yeah.
this is, but this is what I love though. As
Yeah.
far as I want people, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for the group. And so I want people because people have asked me in the group, have contacted me about this and asked
Oh, cool.
about the process,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's awesome. It really is awesome to have those kinds of questions. And so about a year and a half ago, I started to realize that with different distributors, um, that there were opportunities. Some of them have different sets of criteria for their vendors. Not all of them require brick and mortar.
Okay.
Not all of them go under excuse me the same sets of guidelines. And so some of the distributors will do. It's gotten more difficult in the last 2 years. More difficult. I say that in the criteria that you have to meet, proving sales, showing
Yeah.
yada
Yeah.
yada. Um, the main thing is brick and mortar because most people now are operating from home or from
Mm,
wherever. That classification is like one of the biggest. So a lot of people, if they had would just go to events, Comic Cons and other things, you could become a vendor for a couple different distributors, not the big ones, but you
mm.
could become a vendor with them based on being an event, you know, having a business based around event appearances
Gotcha.
and setting up a booth and going to different things. That has been kind of taken away as well, from what I've noticed.
Mm,
So what I did in the beginning was I started figuring out if I wanted to get a relationship with a distributor, I had to, you know, get an LLC and go through the process there. Um, when I went to do it, um, it was fairly easy. Just got everything kind of lined up, um, and branding. Got some people who my experience from hockey. I used to love, those minor league jerseys and
Yeah.
stuff. So I brought in, somebody who does the sports and esports. They do a lot of the esports
Oh,
teams.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that type of like in your mind, you want the art to translate it to make sense. So I looked up that, kind of got everything looking right. I thought presenting well. And then now you can go to the distributors and you have a tax ID number.
Yeah.
And you can usually that's the bar that if you don't fill the red
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
asterisk, that you're not going to get on, move on from there. And so keep in mind for folks out there, if you have a if you don't have a brick and mortar and you are interested in something like this, that if you have a good friend who does own a business in a business zoned, the residential, business,
I
commercial,
gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
has to be zoned as a business zone, but it does not have to be um, a comic book company. You can use that address
Oh,
as
okay.
from somebody who has an address in a business zone that has a
Gotcha.
construction company or a
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
roof cleaning, whatever. So, um, stuff like that. There are ways to, if you don't actually, or you can't do a brick and mortar. Um, and then also the Mall of America certification. Even if a lot of us, I don't know how things are over there. We have a lot of flea markets down here with like
Okay.
farmers markets and flea markets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Some of them are large enough and established enough to where you can become um, a you can basically get a vendor because you're with some of those, as long as they class in the Mall of America classification. And
Gotcha.
so that gets a little difficult, and to walk around. I would strongly recommend, finding a friend with a large business and that doesn't mind a few pieces of mail coming in, every so often, because you'll be operating out of wherever.
Mm-mm-mm.
And so that opens up the doors to the different distributors and what they have price wise. Again, they still cater to people that have larger volumes of sales and an established history, as
Sure.
most of us would probably do in a
Yeah,
business
yeah, yeah.
situation. But you can start talking to people. Once you have that tax ID number, you can have conversations with a lot of these distributors. They'll answer the phone. Um, I mean, I called Upper Deck once or twice with a few high noons in me, and they called back faster than I expected.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so these people will, when it comes to Upper Deck, when you're talking about their AIR certification,
Mm-hmm.
authorized internet retailer. Um, Good luck getting the Black Diamond or whatever the other one is. They're really prestigious cert.
Mm.
Is very difficult, but to be at AIR is not. And then with that tax ID number, now you can kind of shop. And I would recommend get on the phone with guys at Southern Hobby. Get on the phone with guys in some of the California distributors because they're out there and it takes a few phone calls, but surprisingly enough, a lot of them will call you back.
Wow. Okay.
And all I had to do is kind of like go through, hey, this is what I'm doing, a kind of a startup, and was trying to get in and create a relationship here in order to get them at wholesale.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's been the journey. It's been awesome. Like I've run into a few people started bringing me graded and slabbed comics from just yard sales and things in the area. Once I had a few T-shirts and stuff to give out and mugs and coasters and stuff, like then people started to, and next thing you know, I would get phone calls. Somebody, God bless, if someone passed away and there was like an estate sale and stuff.
Okay.
Um, the the process in building like a comic inventory or some slabs, even some of the gentle giants that are signed by the actor, things like that. It's a different. It's more of almost like the TV show with the pickers, where the guys are out finding stuff in junk that's worth
Yeah, yeah,
tons of
yeah,
money.
yeah.
You're kind of doing legwork. You're going out. You have to just run across the right thing
Yeah,
with
yeah.
some of this stuff. But I try to give away as many comics as I can. When I get, sometimes you'll buy vendor deals. Some of these things are they'll send you an extra 15, 20 books on some orders.
Wow.
For some of them, yeah. Oh yeah. If they're certain print runs on, like, I've got this Wolverine, because you'll enter into a pack. So you purchase like 10 books for a year or something, and then you'll get 100 books of each comic,
Everything.
and
Yeah.
some rare parallel hollow covers and stuff that they send to the vendors.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Um, so that kind of stuff, kind of stuff makes it worth it.
Hmm.
To have some extra stock that I can just kids, anytime I find kids, I try to hand them some comics. If I see their parent, I know how expensive things are nowadays, and
Mm.
everybody's trying to either catch up or get back, in good standing. It's tough. Stuff's
Mm,
expensive, and
mm, mm.
this is all for the kids. It was for us when we were kids, and we're just getting to live kind of the dream here, being adults living in. Reminds me of that movie with what Tom Hanks or Jack or something, where he's like a grown man as
Oh,
a
big.
big. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, big.
yeah.
Um, but it's for the kids, and so we're lucky enough now where it's kind of ventured into everywhere worldwide and all the walks of life. But I try to hand off a comic to every kid I can see that, maybe save the parents, $5 or $10 on some candy or toys
Or
that
give their
day.
parents 10 minutes of quiet while the kid
Yes,
devours it.
at
Yeah.
peace. And I've had people come up to me afterwards. We had a big storm down here that last year that really did a lot of damage,
Mm.
16 feet of water, entire
Oof.
neighborhoods that, like where I grew up in, that whole neighborhood was wiped out.
Wow.
Um, only people that are still living there were people that had built way up in the air. And, some of them didn't even make it. And I was on my way back to my apartment after checking on the parents. And, a woman comes up to me and says, we had to pack up and go, and we had to go quick. And I didn't have time to grab toys and all this other stuff. And she's
Mm.
like, we're waiting out a storm, and my kids are scared. And the only thing they had that made this experience not awful were a couple comic books she gave to us. And that kind of stuff, like you can't put a price on
No.
experiences like that.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
come up, and so really it's been super rewarding. Just you'll have people go, wait a second, you're starting what? Like a comic book company is it's not exactly this stock brokerage or a real estate firm. Doesn't necessarily spark immediately for some people, but I can tell you it's worth it. um,
Mm.
Great experience, the best group of people. um, and so yeah, just it's an ever evolving thing, kind of like you with the group. uh, it's it it's out of my hands now. I feel like I mean,
Well, the
obviously
train
I
is
went.
moving. Yeah, you're just
Yeah,
holding on. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
I'm just holding on for dear life, and
yeah.
um, but it's been, man, it's been a blessing, dude. The whole thing is really been a blessing.
So, do you have a website? Do you want to shout out where people can go to find
I
it?
So I do. I have a store on eBay.
Okay.
I'll grab one of my cards here that I have. Obviously, yeah, Instagram and everything else I
We can't
do.
hear you now. We can't hear you. You've gone. You'll find it. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, I'll track it. I'll track it down. But yeah, so we got the my contacts.
You've
Um,
got it upside down now. There we
Upside
go. It was right the
down.
first time. There we go.
We'll get it. We'll get there. Yeah, so
Nice.
get a hold of me at Instagram, send me a message, text, anything like that. Um, yeah, I
I
Gonna
just
do
found
what?
I just found you as Kennedy.comics on Instagram. So let me type in the other one. Hang on a minute. What was it? Joshua. Hang on.
So it might actually, interestingly enough, the
Smith,
the one that
Joshua
you
Kennedy. Right, there we go.
you looked up just recently might be the one that works. I had changed it around because of
Ah,
the dot in it's yeah. Again with the name, a million names.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
But yeah. So doing
Yeah, no,
a
it's
lot of
Kennedy.comics is what I found you now. There we
yep.
go.
That's the one.
There we go. Lovely stuff. Well, we'll put that on the
Yeah,
show notes.
it's been great. And eBay is they've done some stuff recently to with people who have an official store when you actually put a little bit into it and pay the fees. I know everyone calls it fee-bay. And they're gonna get their cut, but there is great opportunity on mid tier cards and stuff like that to still get quite a bit of exposure from what eBay's capable
Mm,
of doing,
mm,
and in the fee that they take, it still works. It
yeah,
still
yeah,
works.
yeah, yeah.
Not for the high end stuff.
Yeah, but it's got such reach. That's the thing. It's
Exposure.
kind of difficult to I mean, I guess
Yeah,
that's what you're paying for, isn't it? I mean,
it
it's the go-to
it
place
is.
for everyone, these days. I mean, there are
Hmm.
people who have been alive for less time, adults that have been alive for less time, parents that have been alive for less time than eBay has existed.
Yeah,
And the same for Google, actually, when you think about it.
everything.
Um,
It's crazy
yeah,
how fast it's changed.
yeah. I remember starting. When did I start my eBay account? 2000, maybe. Might have been around 2000. And
Yeah,
so
yeah. I think I was like
I've
oh
had
six.
two occasions to ring eBay. I actually have them ring me, and it's bonkers now. The responses I get are, "Oh, thank you for calling eBay," and I felt like saying, "Well, you called me because I requested a call back. Thank you for being a valued customer for 23 years." And I was like, "What?" It's like,
Yeah, right.
but it's the fact that they're using that vernacular now to people when they ring up. I mean, what do they do if you only joined last month? Do they not offer that callback service to those people? I don't know.
Right.
It does make me laugh. Um,
There is a clear, so, algorithms and however they have their
yeah,
setup, it is very clearly built off activity and,
yeah,
and interaction. So those messages, like some of them are nasty grams, they're not always positive
no.
messages. Um, but they respond to you very fast if the store is turning, if,
Oh
there's
yeah, no, I
activity.
was selling some stuff, so that's why they were picking up the phone, as it were. Um,
Right.
Very quickly, talk to me about Elusive, because
Okay.
I don't know what this well, I kind of know what it is, but
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
else does.
So, what happened is Marvel Masterpieces 22 happened. The delay. So, again, like we talked about, no problem. I was more than willing to wait and happy to do it. But I started through the Bianchi breakfast after I was sold on the art, original art, and meeting more artists. And so Bella Rochlin was the first that I spoke with, and she was
She's awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, some of her stuff is within arm's reach, but I've got the original art for the Silver Surfer, but this is like one of the surfers that she did for me,
Yeah.
um, and it was just it was just awesome and a great opportunity. And so when I had the art made, I came up with an idea from your podcast, talking to you'll probably I wish I could remember his name, but I remember the set that he did. So he created he was a Star Wars guy, and you were talking to him mostly about the transfer, the
Oh,
carryover
Greg.
stuff.
Greg
Yes,
McLaughlin, the
yes,
host of the Rebel Base Card podcast.
yes, exactly. Yes. And so
He's doing his promo packs. Yeah.
I was taken back by just that casual conversation between you guys on him starting it, why he started the set, And again, with my interest in the production end of this, I was like, wait a second. So, he creates this small set for the group, has a couple different parallels in there. And then the checklist is like a picture of him and his buddies all like throwing dabs up and hanging out. And I was like, okay, wait a second. So I'm going to be waiting for 22 masterpieces. Let's do something to just let's create a project based off of what's the strongest card stock I can find. I want something that's going to last forever. So I found
Mm,
aluminum blanks and scaled perfect 2.5 by 3.5 pre-cut. They do gold, silver, all this stuff.
okay.
And so I had my one piece of original art from Bellis. I talked to her and I said, "This is my idea." And I said I can't stop um, getting pieces of OA now because it's just it grabs you, and like Lewis
Mm,
said, it's a whole, oh my god, I don't even know if there's an end to it. And so the idea was to take some of maybe a 10 in the beginning. Jeez, another proverbial. So it was 10 characters in the beginning, five heroes, five villains. And so I
gotcha.
put it down on paper, rough idea, with a couple holographics on the back end. And we were like, well, what are you going to do to help kind of include as many people as possible? And that was
Mm.
throw in a couple video game characters from we all remember Marvel vs. Capcom and how big that was. And then like the Nintendo end of it with battle, what is theirs called, where you battle the characters in the
I don't
Nintendo?
know. I
Yeah.
was always a Sega guy.
But it was the same deal with
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, with combining characters from the video game world with the comic book world.
Mm,
And so, we were at 12 or so. And I started talking to some more artists. And in the group, we have access to, I mean, guys that are doing cards that are burnt with metal, that are
hmm.
electrified metal pens that they burn the image onto a wooden blank. We have guys that are um, doing guys like Kenneth Hutchinson, who are
Mm,
doing Venoms and Wolverines that are mind blowing. They're just the style of some of these guys. And when you have a conversation with them about starting a small set for the group, and to have these guys go, well, this is what we charge normally, but because we'll gain some exposure from it, these are the exact group of people that we want units in front of.
gotcha.
And all of a sudden, not only was I getting yes, don't be afraid to get no. You hear it, you just move on. But I was getting people saying yes, and not only that, they were willing to charge me um, a less of a price in order to kind of just be part of a
Mm,
small promotional set. And I couldn't believe that. Me, I'm thinking I'm just a Mick from the south end of Boston. Like, what, I talk to some of these people and they, hey, sorry, kid, no problem. But that's not what I was getting. I was getting so much like love and,
mm.
positive energy from these guys. And so it just kept going. And 10 cards went to 15, and then 15 turned to 20.
Good grief.
Yeah. So right. So, now we've got 20 characters with five video game characters: Supersonic,
Right.
Mega Man X, Mega Man, Link, Link from Zelda.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
And this guy does a lot of like PMG style for his backgrounds with like
Mm,
metallic
mm.
paints. But for me, I mean, talking about your first thing, Crash Bandicoot, that was one of the first
Oh,
video games I played,
yes.
first PlayStation. And those are the memories, and this guy did at the Bianchi breakfast. This is Mentz, Jason Mentz. He does a lot of really, really great Sega stuff because I know you mentioned Sega.
Mm,
He does Knuckles, Supersonic. I mean, regular Sonic, a Battle Spectre card with Tails and Sonic, just some of the because I had this one comic book where it was Tails and Sonic are friends no more, big drama. One of the few Sega comics that I have. And so, you know, now we're at 25. I found uh printing process is something that takes you around the world. Over in Ireland, they're printing directly onto metal with certain types of sublimation printers.
Okay.
That'll produce an image on an aluminum blank that requires nothing else done to it. Where this is why they're metal. Um, so this one here is printed directly onto the metal. The
Gotcha.
lighter colors you're actually going to see
Yeah.
like on the character bio, which is not the easiest thing when you're trying to create an original character bio. Um, that has it play ball for, what most people are hoping to or expect to see. But yeah, this one here is from Ireland. He sent it to me, um, just exploring, trying to figure out how can we get the best,
Mm,
the something that kind of plays ball like Marvel Masterpiece style, like a metallurgy card. And then I came across a company that does holographic printing paper of different. You can tell it's part of how Upper Deck does speckled and kaleidoscope.
gotcha.
These
Yeah. Yeah.
different holographic films can
Mm-hmm.
either be put over top of an image or the image can be printed directly on it. So I found some of the holographic that is what we're familiar with the achievement cards
Gotcha.
from EPAC. Some of my favorite cards in all of this are,
Yeah, they're
some of
beautiful.
those. And so when I saw the chance to get close to that and to head like that direction, um, it was great. The guys in Ireland with the very expensive printers were like, listen, don't don't go this route. You found with the holographic printable, you can get a brighter, more vibrant image than what's truly printed into the metal. That is something when you produce a set, even if it's something small like this, you don't know that you have trimming issues until you have
Yeah.
trimming issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't run into that, then you don't realize about you know, crickets or scale cutters that are designed to, for batch cutting.
Yeah.
You don't realize and fall into these problems until you start something like this. I used to do the foam core in the beginning. Different companies would send me foam core blanks with different consistencies. Some were more bubbly, some were thinner or
Mm-hmm.
more firm and compact. This would matter when adhesive, which in this game there's only one type to use. Contact me if you're looking. Um, but really, there is only one type of adhesive it has to come from another world. It's amazing. But when you try to put a solid image on the front and back of a foam core, depending on its quality, you can get into warping of the
Okay.
actual blank
Yeah.
as the adhesive dries and it's doing its thing. So um, I'm like, I don't. That's not going to work. That's not. I can't. And so that's where we wound up with aluminum, and it helps. It helps. I've dropped a few of them, and you just grab it and go, all right, hey,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of cool. Um, not a big deal when you drop it, and then when you're going through and you're learning about how to get better at making the cuts, how to um, do again like batch cutting for multiples. Um, it was and is it has been a really killer process.
Learning curve.
Yeah, learning about
Mm.
all this, even from researching the packs. So you've got art vector images in your in your computers and your things that you can throw at a box design or a pack design. But now you're looking for because someone has to have whether we put 5 cards in a pack and however that's all going to shake out, um, and then a box. we have to have that same experience that we got when we opened these first sets.
Mm.
I want them to be metal cards and them to feel cold. And when you hold it in your hand, it just feels something
Mm,
different
mm,
when it's made
mm.
the way it's made. But I want that old tearing off the pack, opening or cutting it and then sliding the cards out. That's the experience, the nostalgia that I'm trying to hit.
Nice.
And yeah, so I was just I knew Marvel Masterpieces was coming, but I'm like Sonic, man. I can't sit still. I just I can't. I love this stuff so much, and so I was looking for something to fill up the time, and these artists were way too good to me. Just awesome.
So
Um,
when and how is it out?
right now, we're hoping for May of 24. So, I'll have them available on that. We will have a website set up for. I've always done so much through eBay and through group and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll put together something there because now I've pretty much found pack a source for chrome foil packs. So you're going to be able to
Okay.
tear it open and do that kind of thing, and then a
Nice.
box design as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's gone well and it's shaped up. And so we'll have a website for that. I've given away a few prototypes to try
You
to get.
sent me one as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got no idea where I put it. It
Oh,
is
no
in
worries.
this room somewhere.
Um,
So there's a lot of stuff.
and because a lot of what I found out was it's really a game changer as far as conversations and for people to kind of understand, wrap their mind around
Mm.
what you're doing when you have a prototype.
Yes.
When it really is different. And whether the idea to the reception from the group has been so overwhelmingly positive, that fuels the fire. You know what I mean? That's
Mm-hmm.
you hear stuff like that when you're just doing, and it makes other people that happy and
Mm.
they're enjoying them that much. Man, you get back on the table and you start cutting more,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
that's just a killer thing to be idea fruition and bang, and then somebody else is
Nice.
happy about it. Killer. And yeah, so I'm getting better, learning about the production end of things, and kind of like an actor or someone. You start with commercials, start filming small things. Most of your first projects are going to be pro bono or whatever it is to
Mm-hmm.
build a portfolio, to kind of show the powers that be that you can
You'll be at
produce.
Upper Deck in 2 years' time. You won't.
That's awesome.
So I was going to very quickly say two things before I wrap us up. First off, how would you like Hutch to be the intro artist for this episode?
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, I've got it. He's introed before, so I've got the recording.
Yeah,
So I'm more than happy to throw him on there if you want to hit him up and tell him that he's going to be at the top of this episode for the audio version,
absolutely.
then absolutely. Um, so
Yeah, he
and
was
let me very quickly find his Instagram so I can give it a pinch, a pinch,
when
give
his
it a
artwork
bit of
when
pimp.
his artwork came in and I opened up that box, the one thing that
Yeah,
went
yeah,
through
yeah,
my mind was, this is all on me now.
yeah. So
This is all on me because however far it goes or carries it, which anything here or here, whatever it is, I'm
yeah,
so happy, overwhelmed and happy with what's happened already. But yeah, I
his
saw those two images that he did for me, and I was like,
yeah,
oh boy,
yeah.
it's
That
on me
Venom's
now.
gnarly. So he is on Instagram, Kenneth Hutchison. Don't underscore touch underscore hutch. And quite frankly, don't touch him.
Yeah, he just had
So
baby twins too. Congrats.
oh, did he? Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Cool. Yeah,
yeah.
he'll
So
have his
anybody
hands
who
full then.
hasn't heard from him recently, don't be. He's
Yeah,
just,
that's
I
why. Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. No, no, that takes priority.
million miles an
And
hour.
then the second thing I want to show you, we are talking about metal cards. I want to give a shout out to Tony Perner and Elaine Perner of Perner Studios. Their metal cards are absolutely banging. I've no idea who they use, how they're made. This is the regular promo. Okay, so this is
Yes.
card. Yeah,
Uh
regular
huh.
promo. Metal version of it.
Beautiful.
How vibrant is that?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
look at that.
absolutely beautiful.
It's incredible.
Right.
And
That's sublimation.
yeah, it is.
That
So if for anyone who likes metal cards, seriously, track down Perna
yes.
Studio stuff. They do the most incredible. They're not the full set. They have them as random inserted
Okay.
kind of versions of some of the base cards, but you can actually buy from them. I think they just found some extras, or they had a second batch arrive, and they do the promos as a metal set. So there's three
That
promos
one,
for the set.
that's
And
beautiful.
just look
That
at the
thing is
vibrancy of it.
beautiful.
It's
Right.
stunning. It really is. So yeah,
And the way it feels
yeah.
is in to the touch.
It's
It's just
deeply, deeply satisfying. I kind of want to go and
yes,
put a
sir.
pillow on it and sleep on it. Good, good. Right, Josh, I'm going to let you go. I need to
Yes,
go
sir.
because I have a family that need dinner.
Understand.
Because the time is getting on. Josh, this has been fantastic. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
And thank you
absolutely.
for
It's
being
been an
such a
honor.
positive, enthusiastic member of the community. It's been a joy seeing you operate. So thank you.
Appreciate that. Means a lot.
So at the end of the, you know how we sign off our episodes. Do you want to take us out?
Yep. Everyone enjoy collecting.
Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors podcast. Tasting notes and visuals for each episode can be found on our Facebook page. We're on most social media at the MCC Pod, and you can also watch the video of each episode recording on our YouTube channel. Leave us a voicemail via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Please take a second to subscribe, like, and review our show wherever you find us. Our Facebook community is at MCCW Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide and MMC Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. The great music we use on our audio version is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists, and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.